So I want to talk to you today about what is a smart contract. I want to do a couple of series, and I'm going to create a bit of a playlist on my channel because I've was uploading every single day, and I just thought, you know what, I'm getting new subscribers and new viewers, and I think that one of the purposes in my channel was to be able to create another avenue for people to learn about cryptocurrencies, to understand cryptocurrencies from really my perspective, what I learned, what I understand, and the benefits of the cryptocurrencies and the technology behind the cryptocurrencies as well. And so I'm going to start off with smart contracts because I think really and truly outside of currency usage, and not everyone understands the need for that, so we'll cover that in a whole different playlist. But I want to talk about smart contracts because smart contracts is one of the best uses of this technology, and most people don't even understand what is a blockchain smart contract or what is a smart contract on the blockchain. And I found this article, and I'll link it below, but let's just go through this article because I think it's just incredibly good. It says, smart contracts, the blockchain technology that will replace lawyers. So this is going to go through and talk to us about what is a smart contract, and then it's going to talk about the vast amount of use cases, real world use cases that we're going to see from this technology. And the thing to understand is that we are, like, I say this all the time, this is cutting edge. I had a buddy of mine who summed it up the best. He said, in this space, we're the pioneers of the pioneers. And he couldn't have said it any better. As a potential investor in this space, there's a tremendous amount of risk. And so I don't ever give investing advice. But it's so exciting to realize that we could be so early in massive technology that's going to totally reshape the entire globe and the world that we know now. And as we go through this article, you'll see that. So let's talk about what is a smart contract. One of the best things about the blockchain is that because it is a decentralized system that exists between all permitted parties, there's no need to pay intermediaries, middlemen, and it saves you time and conflict. Blockchains have their problems, but they are rated undeniably faster, cheaper, and more secure than traditional systems, which is why banks and governments are turning to them. In 1994, Nick Szarbo, a legal scholar and cryptographer, realized that the decentralized ledger could be used for smart contracts, otherwise called self-executing contracts. Blockchain contracts or digital contracts in this format, contracts could be converted to computer code, stored and replicated on the system, and supervised by the network of computers that run the blockchain. This would also result in ledger feedback, such as transferring money and receiving the product or service. What are smart contracts? Smart contracts help you exchange money, property, shares, or anything of value in a transparent, conflict-free way while avoiding the services of middlemen. If you get that right there, that's probably one of the most powerful sentences of the entire article. Smart contracts help you exchange money, property, shares, or anything of value in a transparent, conflict-free way while avoiding the services of a middleman. The best way to explain smart contracts is to compare the technology to a vending machine. Ordinarily, you would go to a lawyer or notary, pay them, wait while they get the document. With smart contracts, you simply drop a Bitcoin into the vending machine, i.e. the ledger, and your escrow driver's license or whatever drops into your account. More so, smart contracts are not only define the rules and penalties around an agreement in the same way that a traditional contract does, but also automatically enforce those obligations. As Vitalik Buterin, a 22-year-old programmer of Ethereum, explained at a recent DC blockchain summit, in a smart contract approach, an asset or currency is transferred into a program, and the program runs its code, and at some point it automatically validates a condition, and it automatically determines whether the process should go to one person or back to the other person, or whether it should be immediately refunded to the person who sent it or some combination thereof. In the meantime, the decentralized ledger also stores and replicates the document, which gives it a certain security and immutability. An example of this would be, suppose you rent an apartment from me. You can do this through the blockchain by paying in cryptocurrency. You get a receipt which is held in our virtual contract. I give you the digital key which comes to you by a specified day. If the key doesn't come on time, the blockchain releases a refund. If I send the key before the rental date, the function holds it, releasing the fee and the key to you and me respectively when the date arrives. The system works on the if-then premise. is witnessed by hundreds of people, so you can expect a faultless delivery. If I give you the key, I'm sure to be paid. If you send a certain amount in Bitcoins, you receive the key. The document is automatically canceled after the time, and the code cannot be interfered by either of us, without the other knowing, since all participants are simultaneously alerted. You can use smart contracts for all sorts of situations that range from financial derivatives to insurance premiums, breach contract, property law, credit enforcement, financial services, legal processes, and crowdfunding agreements. A smart contract example. Here's the code for a basic smart contract that was written on the Ethereum blockchain. Contracts can be encoded on any blockchain, but Ethereum is mostly used because it gives unlimited processing capacity. We'll skip over that. The contract stipulates that the creator of the contract be given 10,000 Bitcoins. It allows anyone, okay. Here's how you can use smart contracts. So this is important. Government. Insiders vouch that it is extremely hard for our voting system to be rigged, but nonetheless, smart contracts would allay all concerns by providing an infinitely more secure system. Ledger protected votes would need to be decoded and require excessive computing power to access. No one has that much computing power, so it would need God to hack the system. Secondly, smart contracts could hike low voter turnout. Much of the inertia comes from a fumbling system that includes lining up, showing your identity, completing forms. With smart contracts, volunteer can transfer voting online, and millennials will turn out en masse to vote for the President of the U.S. Management. The blockchain not only provides a single ledger as a source of trust, but also shaves possible snarls in communication and workflow because of its accuracy, transparency, and automated system. Ordinarily, business operations has to endure a back and forth while waiting for approvals and for internal or external issues to sort themselves out. A blockchain ledger streamlines this. It also cuts out discrepancies that typically occur with independent processing that may lead to costly lawsuits and settlement delays. I wonder this area right here, Microsoft and certain companies like that, Cisco, I think is another one. Some of those tech companies have actually posted job postings for Ethereum developers who they want to basically create Ethereum smart contracts for me. And I'm always curious in what area. Maybe they're using them in this management area or in supply chain. We'll talk about that in a moment. Case history. In 2015, so this technology has already been tested. In 2015, the Depository Trust and Clearinghouse used a blockchain ledger to process more than 1.5 quadrillion worth of securities, representing 345 million transactions. Smart contracts work on the if-then premise. So to put it in Jeff Garzak's words, UPS can execute contracts that say, if I receive cash on delivery at this location in a developing emerging market, then this other product, many links up the supply chain, will trigger a supplier creating a new item since the existing item was just delivered in that developing market. All too often, supply chains are hampered by paper-based systems where forms have to pass through numerous channels for approval, which increase exposure to loss and fraud. The blockchain nullifies this by providing a secure, accessible digital version to all parties on the chain and automates task and payment. Case history. Barclays Corporate Bank uses smart contracts to log change of ownership and automatically transfer payments to other financial institutions upon arrival. The automobile industry. There's no doubt that we're progressing from slothful pre-human vertebrates to super smart robots. Think of a future where everything is automated. Google's getting there with smartphones, smart glasses, even smart cars. That's where smart contracts help. One example is if the self-autonomous or self-parking vehicle where smart contracts could put into play a sort of oracle that could detect who was at fault in a crash, the sensor or the driver, as well as the countless other variables. Using smart contracts, an automobile insurance company could charge rates differently based on where and under which conditions customers are operating their vehicles. Real estate. You can get money through smart contract. You can get more money through smart contracts. Ordinarily, if you wanted to rent your apartment to someone, you'd need to pay a middleman such as Craigslist or a newspaper to advertise, and then again, you'd need to pay someone to confirm that the person paid the rent and followed through. The ledger cuts your cost. All you do is pay via Bitcoin and encode your contract on the ledger. Everyone sees, and you accomplish automatic fulfillment. Brokers, real estate agents, hard money lenders, and anyone associated with a property game can profit. Healthcare. Personal health records could be encoded and stored on the blockchain with a private key, which would grant access only to specific individuals. The same strategy could be used to ensure that research is conducted via HIPAA laws in a secure and confidential way. Receipts of surgeries could be stored on a blockchain and automatically sent to insurance providers as a proof of delivery. The ledger, too, could be used for general healthcare management, such as supervising drugs, regulations, compliance, testing results, and managing healthcare supplies. So I actually think healthcare, I actually believe this is one of the areas, because I happen to know that with HIPAA laws and they're already computerizing healthcare documentation, I actually think this is one of the first area that we're going to see smart contracts in mainstream type situations that that provide real world services and is not just like transference of crypto only sort of assets. So I think healthcare is going to be one of the very first areas. That's just my opinion. How smart contracts work. Okay, smart contracts are awesome. Here's what smart contracts give you: autonomy. You're the one making the agreement. There's no need to rely on a broker, lawyer, or other intermediaries to confirm. Saves money. Incidentally, this also knocks out the danger of manipulation by a third party, since execution is managed automatically by the network rather than one or more possibly biased individuals who may err. Trust. Your documents are encrypted on a shared ledger. There's no way that someone can say they lost it. Backup. Imagine if your bank lost your savings account. On the blockchain, each and every one of your friends has your back. The documents are duplicated many times over. Safety. Cryptography. The encryption of websites keeps your documents safe. There's no hacking. In fact, it would take an abnormally smart hacker to crack the code and infiltrate. Listen, a lot of times when you read about this, they'll use terms like this, and they'll go as far as to say that they'll go just short of saying it's impossible to hack it or break it or crack it. But currently, for most smart contracts that have been proven, Ethereum smart contracts and whatnot, if the code is written properly and it's been vetted and that sort of thing, it's extremely, it is darn near impossible. The encryption used and the way that it works, interlocking cryptography for just simple terms, it's extremely darn near impossible to crack. And probably most smart contracts will actually never, ever be cracked. And if they are, I think that we'll find that it was by human error. But you can believe before a banking system or something uses it, it's going to run through the paces many times over. Speed. You ordinarily have to spend chunks of time and paperwork to manually process documents. Smart contracts use software code to automate tasks, thereby shaving hours off of a range of business processes. Savings. Smart contracts can save you money since they knock out the presence of an intermediary. You should, for instance, have to pay a notary. You would, for instance, have to pay a notary to witness your transaction. Accuracy. Automated contracts are not only fast and cheaper, but they also avoid the errors that come from manually filling out heaps of forms. Smart contracts are awesome. Autonomy, trust, backup, savings, accuracy. Here's how Jeff Garzik, owner of Blockchain Services Block, describes smart contracts. Smart contracts guarantee a very, very specific set of outcomes, and there's never any confusion, and there's never any need for litigation. Smart contracts are where the rubber meets the road for business and blockchain technology. While a highly specialized distributed financial services use cases for blockchain has appeared, for example, payment ledger services for the Yangon stock market in Myanmar, its services on top of the blockchain that are really interesting. In the Yangon exchange, it solves a problem of distributed settlement in a trading system that only synchronizes twice a day, but the autonomous execution capacities of smart contracts extend the transactional security assurance of blockchain into situations where complex, evolving context transactions are required. And it's that possibility that has Amazon, Microsoft, Azure, IBM, Bluemix rolling out blockchain as a service from the cloud. So it's already starting. Which is fascinating. Now for the problems. Smart contracts are far from perfect. What if bugs get in the code? Or how should government regulate such contracts? Or how would governments tax these smart contract transactions? As a case in point, remember my rental situation? What happens if I send the wrong code, or as a lawyer, Bill Marino points out, I send the right code but my apartment is condemned, taken for public use without my consent? before the rental date arrives. If this were the traditional contract, I could rescind it in a court, but the blockchain is a different situation. The contract performs no matter what. The list of challenges go on and on. Experts are trying to unravel them, but these critical issues do dissuade potential adopters from signing on. And here's to the future of smart contracts. Part of the smart contracts lies in entangling these issues. In Cornwall Tech, for instance, lawyers who insist that smart contracts will enter our everyday life have dedicated themselves to researching these concerns. Actually, when it comes to smart contracts, we're stepping into a sci-fi screen. The IT Resource Center Search Compliance suggests that smart contracts may impact changes in certain industries such as law. In that case, lawyers will transfer from writing traditional contracts to producing standardized smart contract templates, similar to the standardized traditional contracts that you'll find on LegalZoom. Other industries such as merchant acquirers, credit companies, and accountants may also employ smart contracts for tasks such as real-time auditing, risk assessment. Actually, the website Blockchain Technologies sees smart contracts emerging into a hybrid of paper and digital content, where contracts are verified via blockchain and substantiated by physical copy. Blockchains, where you can process smart contracts. Bitcoin is great for processing Bitcoin transactions, but has limited ability for processing documents. Sidechains. This is another name for blockchains that run adjacent to Bitcoin and offer more scope of processing contracts. NXT is a public blockchain platform that contains a limited selection of templates for smart contracts. You have to use what is given, and you're unable to code your own. Ethereum is a public blockchain platform and the most advanced for coding and processing smart contracts. You can code whatever you wish, but would have to pay for computing costs with Ether tokens. As for the potential of smart contracts itself, there's no need to the range of industries it can impact, from healthcare to automobiles to real estate and law. The list goes on and on, says Ethereum CTO Gavin Wood. So, the potential for smart contracts to alter aspects of society is of significant magnitude. There is something that would provide a technical basis for all sorts of social changes, and I find that exciting. So do I, by the way. This is incredible. I'll link this article below. But this is a smart contract, and in one of my next videos, I'll talk about this discusses and explains smart contracts and some of the real world uses. In one of my next video, I'll talk about some smart contracts that already exist in the form of dApps or decentralized applications that exist. And we'll talk about what is a dApp, and that will be what's coming up. Actually, that's going to be what's coming up in my next video. What is a dApp? Decentralized application. Stay tuned as we start to unravel this incredible technology. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.